Now I am joined by both Johnny and Dan from the band. Welcome, guys. How are ya?
Good.
Hey.
How are you? Thanks for having us.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for coming on. How's your day been? How are things going over there?
It's all good.
Good.
It's all good. More of the same. Now?
Right. I mean, there is a lot to be excited about, though, because so much is on the horizon for you two. In exactly a month's time, you'll release your new album, How to Tune a Parrot. So, are you absolutely pumped that everyone will soon be able to hear this entire album?
Fuck yeah. It's been so long.
Yeah, it's taken a
It
long
was
time.
yeah, it was the perfect recipe of just delay and delay and delay. So it's just
Right.
we're really. I think we're both really psyched to finally give it to the world.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I'm a little anxious. It's kind of. I feel like I've kind of been out of the loop with the whole thing. Like just playing live and doing this whole cycle of press and everything. It's kind of surreal being
Mhm.
back in this situation. But I'm sure I'll get back into the rhythm of things easily enough.
Right. I
I've
mean,
just
when it
been in this
says
room. Like I've literally just been in this room. I
it's
can't
been
even
you and
remember.
four
Like,
walls.
I lost track of time, so even having a conversation is kind of bizarre.
Yeah, it's been.
Well, it's interesting because when it comes to the actual title of the album, I was looking up parts of it. I'm thinking, is this a phrase that's used elsewhere? And I really couldn't find much on it. So I have to ask, where the hell did How to Tune a Parrot? Where did that come from? How did that come to be?
So
Funny.
Dan is a recording engineer and a mastering engineer. So he was doing the album, and it was pretty much me getting in the vocal booth for the first time after years, and just being so terrible, and him being so patient that we were just like, all right, let's try and tune this parrot a little bit before we, get some
That's
demos.
amazing. And there you have it, an album title, literally going from a moment in the studio straight to the front cover. That's amazing.
Pretty much.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. I mean, I hope Dan has permanently destroyed those takes forever because they're
I
real.
archive everything. I'm pedantic. Everything's there. I did send you
Ooh.
that demo from like how long ago? The other day, from like Michelle
You guys
Picard.
better stay on good terms, eh?
I
No.
have everything.
It's very rough. It's very rough.
Oh, man. Well, we were jamming to Elephant a few moments ago, and this track serves as the first single from the album, but it's just absolutely packed with chaotic energy. It instantly hits you with just raw punk intensity. So, what was it like putting these songs together, kind of brainstorming the lyrics and vocals that are just so quick with music that's so intense?
Um,
What do you think,
it
Dan?
just what's that? It kind of just it came together. There wasn't much thought process as far as the writing of the music went. I think the biggest challenge was lyrics. I think is always kind of, but that sometimes comes easily too. But for the most part, we just wrote the songs, and there was no real records to cut. We kind of just wrote the whole album, and it just made sense, and it was sort of done.
Yeah, I think it was
And that
like
was it.
one day we wrote 5 songs on guitar,
Oh,
and
wow.
then we were like, whoa, let's like write this record, and then it took us like 7 months to write the lyrics to those 5 songs.
So, there's five songs you did in one day.
Yeah, so it was like there was definitely like like some things were really quick and some things were quite painstaking.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
I think.
It came off the back of a loop. It really came off the back of like a loop pack that someone had had asked us to potentially do, and we started, and it was just too much hard work, which was just not something that we wanted to do in the end. It didn't
Yeah.
make sense what we tried to do, but through the course of that, we had suddenly all these loops and all these drums and all these ideas, and I think that's where those first lot of songs came from.
Yeah, do you know like Loop Masters? It's like a brand that sells sample CDs to producers. So
Okay.
they like asked us to do a Loop Masters pack, and they essentially just ask for hundreds of vocal snippets, hundreds of loops, because they're meant for like producers just cranking that stuff out. And by our third day in the studio, we're like, what are we doing? Let's just write a record. Like it was
Yeah, for all the effort that was going into it.
Right. The interesting thing about that is hearing that it only took 5 days for the behind the scenes stuff, or sorry, that one day for the 5 songs, but then the 7 months for the lyrics. But at the same time, I don't blame you for that because even when you just listen to the new single, the amount that you were just spitting out, like, it's absolutely ridiculous. I'm trying to learn the songs. I dig it so much. I'm like, this is going to take me ages, like absolute ages. So it just kind of makes sense in context why that would take a lot longer.
Yeah, totally. I think
Well,
we kind of back and forth with a lot of the songs until we hit a brick wall, and then we'll just be like, "Oh, this is you," or like. And I think in the studio, obviously Dan is doing the production and the mixing, and then we'll write guitar riffs together, and then we'll sometimes bounce back with lyrics, or sometimes it'll just be spur of consciousness, stream of consciousness, and one of us will just hammer it out.
mm-hmm.
But I think like because we kind of write the songs like electronic songs more than band songs, we write the songs in the studio with like synths and samplers and on computers. It can kind of be a bit more painstaking and what's the word? Detail orientated than just jamming them out in the studio.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we don't really jam. We've never really been like that. I think every record we've done is literally just birthed in the studio.
Wow.
And then we take it to the rehearsal room, and then a lot of the time we realize we can't sing a lot of them because we write them in two weird keys.
There's a couple of songs on the album were like, that would have been better like 3 semitones lower.
Yeah, and we get super excited. Oh, this track will be amazing to sing on stage. And then we get in the rehearsal room, and then by the end of the song, we're literally in cardiac arrest. Like, we've got no breath. Sense.
So we'll probably just do that we'll just detune it in Ableton for the live version.
Yeah.
So,
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Well, I was able to get a little sneak peek of the entire record, and there are a lot of really good bangers on this track. And there's also a collaboration with Horror on the release, which I was really excited to see because they're just absolutely like out there crushing it. So how did that come about? Were you pretty pumped when that got locked down?
Well, I mean, Edie was the kid with the flipped up suicidal tendencies hat at the front row of Death Set shows 10 years ago. So we've known Edie for like over 10 years. And he was like always that kid from Jersey that is just wiling out at all the Brooklyn warehouse shows. So it wasn't like we reached out to them. We've known them forever. And obviously they've been crushing it. And, we're so like, it's just so proud of them. They've like killed it. Yeah. I mean, it made more sense than they're friends, basically. They're friends more than like reaching out for like a collab with someone that you don't know.
Right. It's almost like 10 years in the making, isn't it? It's kind of strange that finally it's come to this and they're going to be on a record of yours. That's amazing.
Totally. Yeah, it's dope.
Now, outside of the music, I know for you two, a passion that's been there for quite some time happens to be skateboarding. And I used to do that very frequently until I messed up my knee so badly. I was like, all right, never again. You've had your fun, girl. So the last thing I wanted to ask you about is just what's the worst wipeout you've had simply from boarding?
I can tell you probably one of the worst ones I had, which was probably actually my last time that I got on a skateboard. But I used to ride a board probably up until 2000 and maybe a few years ago or a couple of years ago, I can't remember. But I'd ride one of those little penny cruisers a lot. Before I would skate and ride ramps and do all that stuff. But in the end, I kind of just like cruising. So I had a little penny cruiser and I'd skate that to the studio back and forth every day. And just one day I got really confident on it. And obviously the more confident you get, the faster you get. And one day I was just screaming down a street and the old classic hit a stone in the middle of the street and just flew. It was gnarly, and I was just like, yeah. And then I just walk everywhere. But I pulled the boards out just recently and started rolling around in them again. So yeah, I want to get back to it. I love it.
I don't blame you for taking a little break. That could honestly hurt your soul a little bit. Like I felt crushed. I loved it so much, and I thought I need to take a break for a moment.
Yeah. Yeah, there'd been like other spills and accidents and stuff, but that's all part of it, I guess.
Right.
I think my one was not skateboarding. My one was like this bicycle accident. And like I was in Baltimore and we're at this bar called the Dirt Church. So you can imagine what sort of place that was.
Yes.
And I like was leaving the bar and I borrowed my friend's 10 speed that was like 10 sizes too big and went down this hill and they just found me like Jesus Christ pose, head down.